if we look at this recession, do you think it's going to be quite a shallow one, or do you think it could be a little bit deeper? What are your, I guess, current thoughts on that, or do we have to wait to see more data?
Well, what I'd say about the recession is my guess is it's going to be a lot more challenging than most people suspect. If you go look at surveys of asset managers these days, it's basically like 75% of them say there'll be a soft landing or whatever a no landing is. Okay, so that's like a no recession vibe right there. And then 25% are like hard landing. And then you're like, okay, hard landing. Talk to me about that. What does that mean for the unemployment rate? And they're like, well, I think it'll be like slightly above 4 from the current 3.5%. That is not a hard landing, right? That is not even a recession. That's a modest downtick in economic activity. And so I think what they're not recognizing is that in a typical macroeconomic cycle, it is a self-reinforcing dynamic, right? It's very, very hard to end a cycle that was driven by tightening in a way that doesn't cause a meaningful rise in unemployment. I'm talking like 5 or 6%, right? That is a typical cycle and that is way more substantive than what most people who are in the market today expect, but it's normal. And so I think even in people's view of hard landing, there is a lot of hope, unsubstantiated hope of sort of this like perfect shallow recession. And that's not going to happen because that's not the way these cycles work because they are so self-reinforcing. And it's at a time when the Fed's tools to respond and stimulate the economy are not that good right now, right? I mean, we talked a year ago about how the Fed's going to have a hard time slowing down the economy. Okay, well, the flip side of that is the Fed can have a hard time stimulating the economy, right? It's the same basic mechanics. And then on top of that, what is typically a counter-cyclical mechanism, which is the federal government, in a typical cycle, starts spending as the economy is going down in order to offset the private sector. Well, the federal government has already running deficits that are wartime-like deficits. So are they going to be able to expand their deficits in a time of an economic contraction? Probably not as much as they would normally. And so you have constrained monetary and fiscal policy in an environment where you get that hard self-reinforcing dynamic. That's creating a situation where this recession might be much harder than most people are expecting.